Hello guys and girls, Scott with Heritage Farms, Texas. Well, today we're doing a tour of our farm. This is an intro video. If you're not familiar with our family and our channel, thought I'd take you along for the ride. So this is a family operation. This is my wife, my two daughters, my son-in-law, future son-in-law, and it's about Heritage Farms. And on my wife's side of the family, she comes from multiple generations of farmers and ranchers. On my side of the family, I had, I would say, multiple generations of hobby farms. I also had a granddad that was actually a preacher, provided a lot of the heritage and background that I have in my life. So here we are. We're going into the front of our property. And what is Heritage Farms? Well, we're all about a couple of things. So since we are weekend warriors, this is our hobby farm. If you call 300 plus acres a hobby farm, we focus on a couple of things. Pecans. We planted a pecan orchard with a variety of different trees. We focus on cattle, and we also focus on raising a limited amount of German short-haired pointer puppies. So we're touring the pecan orchard here at what we call our Telephone 1 property, Telephone, Texas. This is the first property. And then we're real original in our numbering. The second property is Telephone 2, Telephone 3. Oh, you can hear the GSPs in the background. But yeah, so we're just now at a point where we're starting to get some pecans for sale. This is the founding dog. This is Cocoa Butter. But here you go. Here's an aerial view of the pecan orchard. So this was set up on the OSU, Noble Foundation, and Texas A&M recommendations. We compared notes from all three different places. We laid out the pecan orchard. We drilled a dedicated water well just for the pecan orchards, put drip irrigation in. So this is the backside of the Telephone 1 property, and it's a really long, skinny property. So there is a lot of county road footage. So we sped this up so you could just get a glimpse of what the property looks like. This fence row right here, we recently cleaned out. Before, you couldn't hardly see the property. But thanks to my son-in-law and future son-in-law, we were able to make a dent in that. So, and it's really a beautiful property. It's got a lot of trees. So out of all the acreage we have, probably 50% of it is covered in trees. So we don't have a tremendous amount of grass, so we're trying to make the most of the grass that we do have. We've been doing things like putting out lime. A couple of years ago, I filled out my applicator's license so I can actually spray weed kill, insecticide, various things that we are trying to improve the grass. And I think it's starting to turn. You can see here it looks pretty good. So I'm kind of excited, but this is one long skinny property. So here's an aerial view of the same property we just drove through. And you can see it's looking pretty good. There's the original founding GSP dog that we had. And here's the best of it. But you can see there is a tremendous amount of woods on the property as well. So we have a lot of wildlife. We have deer. We have feral hogs. But yeah, we've really been striving to improve the property so we can carry more cattle, because that is the primary revenue generation portion of our operation is cattle. And we raise Simmental Angus. So here is a snapshot of Kimber, second generation GSP. And you can kind of get a little glimpse here. We're wrapping up the views of Telephone 1 from the air. But at some point, I'd love to bring a dozer in and try to reclaim some additional pasture land. But that is a chapter for another day. So there is Kimber as she is maturing into the great little hunting dog. So take a ride with me and let's go to our Telephone 2 property, which I love this little journey. It's almost what I call the tree tunnel coming up here. So this property is about a mile down the road, maybe a mile and a quarter from the first property. So let's go along for the ride. Right here is, we picked up another rental property, or I should say the one rental property we have. The landlord purchased a adjoining piece of property. So we're just now starting to do some work on there as far as getting the grass in shape, trying to clean it up. We put in a fence, a nice entrance, working pen. So here's the tree tunnel that I was referring to earlier. And this is just a great little piece of property because down through here, I mean, we see wildlife all the time. You constantly see deer crossing the road, coyotes, I mean, everything from owls to feral hogs. You just never know what you're going to see when you go through this little stretch of county road. So the county road dead ends, which is kind of nice, so there's not a lot of traffic on this road. This is my landlord's property. This is what we call the bullpen. It's isolated, and it's a perfect place to put some bulls or steer calves where you want them to be away from the ladies. So now we're going down, and we're coming up on telephone 2 on the right-hand side of the road. Starting right here is a tract of 40 acres, which we purchased a couple of years ago. It adjoins to the original, what we call telephone 2 property that starts right about there where the cross fence was. And you can see now, a year and a half ago, we put lime out on this property. We do soil samples. We send them off to Texas A&M University. So we have really focused on improving the land on this piece of property. Here's the main entrance. When you come in, we got a trap on the left-hand side, which is about a 1 acre trap where we can keep some cattle if we need to keep them up. We've got the working pens. I like this area because there's a lot of shade trees. Really great area to work cattle. So here is the big open field at telephone 2. And you can see the grass is really starting to turn around. We've had a lot of rain. On the right, last year during the drought, we dug out this pond, and you can see we've increased the size of that pond. Basically, we doubled the size of it, so pretty proud of that. There is Miss Kimber again, our second GSP. And so here we are. We're just kind of cruising around on telephone 2. We're going to come up here and see the cattle shortly. So come through this little gate. Now we're on to the 40 acres. This is the property that we purchased that connected. And it's kind of an unspoken rule of thumb. If there's a piece of property that is for sale that attaches to our existing property, it's kind of implied that you really need to buy it. And the reason for that is expansion, but also you want to control your own destiny. You don't want other people moving in on your property. You never know what you're going to get, good, bad, or indifferent, but by securing as much land as possible, you kind of secure your privacy and you control your own destiny. So this is a group of cattle here that are commercial. Some of them are registered Simmental Angus. They all look really good. We've been blessed this spring. I mean, man, what a lot of rain we've had in the spring. The temperatures have been mild, but now we're officially into summer and things are starting to warm up. So I hope it holds out. I'm anxious to see how the lime actually helps the pasture during the drought period of the year. So now we're cruising back. This is the big pond. The intentions are to stock that pond sometime in the near future with some bluegill, maybe some redfin, some bass, to be determined. So now you're getting a little snapshot of what the property looks like. So we have done a tremendous amount of work of clearing fence rows, taking down unattractive trees, and here's kind of an aerial view of what the property looks like that we just drove. You can see there's like 3 ponds on the property, maybe 3.5. So that fence row that you're seeing there in the middle has actually been removed. This is a little bit older. Oh, there's the Hello Kitty pond, as we call it, because if you look at it, it almost looks like Hello Kitty from the air. So I'm pretty happy with the progress we made. I really like this property because it's at the end of the road. There's no traffic. It's really quiet. There is, unfortunately, a tremendous amount of feral hogs because there is a lot of wooded area. But the deer, the wildlife, there's an aerial view of what the total property looks like as far as the open area. We have as much in woods as we actually have in open area. Hey, there's our new puppy, Remy. She's Kimber's daughter, and man, let me tell you, she is a handful. But we're getting her out and letting her start to explore and run around too. But there's the working pens back at the primary pecan orchard. We utilize a bud box design where it's really easy to work the cattle, and we can handle about 30 to 40 head of cattle. Gets a little crowded, but that's probably the max, but it's a super simple design and works. So there's Miss Remy next to our overhead feed bin. And that wraps up the tour of our property. If you're new to the channel, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, it costs you nothing, and come along for the ride and see what we do on the weekends. Thanks, guys, and glory be to God.